Ugh. It is payday. You wake up, you check weight lifts off your chest, you go buy the expensive iced coffee, maybe you add those sneakers to your online cart because, hey, you survived another 2 weeks. You earned it. But then the weekend rolls around. The auto drafts start hitting. Rent, utilities, car insurance, that one streaming service you keep forgetting to cancel. And by Tuesday, suddenly you are doing mental gymnastics in aisle 4 of the grocery store, staring at a block of cheese, trying to figure out if you can afford the name brand cheddar or if you have to eat the generic yellow plastic this week. It sucks. It is exhausting. Most people think the reason they are always completely broke by the Tuesday after payday is simply because they do not make enough money. They think getting a 10% raise is going to magically fix their anxiety. But the math proves it's actually a totally different beast. It's not an income problem usually, it's an execution problem, a system failure. You are relying on your own willpower on the exact day when your brain is flooded with dopamine and you have cash burning a hole in your digital pocket, which is literally the worst time to trust yourself. I mean, think about it. I'm Heisenbank, by the way, and I've sat down with people making $250,000 a year who are still living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because they run the exact same stupid broken payday habits as the guy making 40 grand. The cars just get nicer, the stress stays exactly the same. We're fixing that right now. Today, I'm going to walk you through the exact zero-friction routine you need to run the minute that money hits your account. No willpower required. I mean it. Once you set this system up, the money anxiety just evaporates. You will stop worrying about what you can afford because the math will have already handled it for you before you even poured your morning coffee. We have to start with how your brain is actively working against you. When you get paid, your brain gets a massive spike of dopamine. Evolutionary biology wired us to hunt, gather, and immediately consume. So when you see a big number on that screen, your lizard brain screams, "Resources acquired! Time to feast!" This is why you make incredibly stupid purchases on Fridays. So, the very first step in the payday routine is doing absolutely nothing for 24 hours. I call it the 24-hour quarantine. When the money hits, you do not buy the shoes, you do not book the flight, you do not even go to the fancy grocery store. You let the money sit. You need to let the dopamine flush out of your system. If you try to make financial decisions while you are high on the payday feeling, you are going to allocate capital based on emotion, not logic. And emotion always overspends. Wait a day. Let the reality of your actual expenses settle back into your mind. It's a psychological circuit breaker, and it saves you hundreds of dollars a month just by forcing a pause. Now we get to the heavy-hitting stuff, the math. Here is the biggest lie you have ever been sold about money. You should pay your bills, buy your groceries, have a little fun, and then save whatever is left over at the end of the month. What is left over? Nothing is ever left over. If you leave money in your checking account, you will find a way to spend it. Parkinson's law dictates that work expands to fill the time allotted, while spending expands to consume the cash available. If you want to escape the trap, you have to flip the entire equation upside down. Pay yourself first. But you cannot do it manually. You will talk yourself out of it. My car needs brakes this month. I will skip investing just this once. No, you need the automated wealth siphon. Let's look at the brutal math of this. Say your take-home pay is $4,000 a month. The second that money hits your account, before you even wake up, your bank needs to automatically transfer 20% of it, $800, directly into an investment account. S&P 500 index fund, a Roth IRA, whatever. Out of sight, out of mind. You never even see it. Your brain learns to survive on the $3,200 that are left. Now, why does this matter so much? Because time and compound interest do not care about your feelings. If you try to save manually, maybe you invest $200 one month, $0 the next, $50 the next. But if you automate that $800 a month and let it sit at a modest 7% average annual return, in 30 years, you were sitting on almost $1.0 million. $1 million, just because you set up an auto draft on Payday. You bypass the human error completely. You are tricking yourself into becoming wealthy. All right, so the investments are siphoned off. Your future self is funded. Now we deal with the present. Step 3 is paying the non-negotiables. And I do not mean writing checks like it's 1998. I mean having a dedicated account just for your fixed costs. Here's how you do it. You calculate your absolute baseline survival number: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, minimum debt payments, the stuff that keeps you out of jail and keeps a roof over your head. Let's say that number is $2,000 a month. When you get paid, assuming you get paid twice a month, you instantly move $1,000 into a totally separate checking account. I call it the bills account. All your auto pays for rent and electric and internet are tied only to this account. You do not even carry the debit card for it in your wallet. It stays in a drawer at home. Why do we do this? Because it prevents the accidental overlap. Have you ever swiped your card for dinner, checked your balance the next morning, and realized you just spent the electric bill money? Yeah, we all have. By separating the fixed costs the exact day you get paid, you mathematically guarantee your survival for the month. The stress of wondering if you can make rent goes away forever because rent is already sitting in a quarantined account waiting to be pulled. And speaking of bills, we need to talk about debt, specifically the high-interest plastic vampires sucking the life out of your net worth. If you are carrying a balance on a credit card at 24% interest, you are in a financial emergency. The house is on fire. You just cannot see the smoke. Most people pay their minimums on the due date, which is usually randomly in the middle of the month when you are broke. Change the due dates. Call your credit card companies and tell them to move your due date to the day after your primary payday. They will do it. They want your money. When payday hits, after the investments are siphoned and the fixed costs are quarantined, whatever aggressive extra payment you are making toward your debt happens instantly. Boom, gone. If you owe $5,000 on a card at 24% and you're only paying $100 a month, you are going to be paying that off for almost 9 years, and you will pay an extra $4,000 just in interest. But if you automate a payday strike of $400 right off the top, it is gone in 14 months. The math is brutal, but it is honest. Stop letting debt linger around until the end of the month when you have nothing left to throw at it. Hey, if this math is making sense to you and you're tired of feeling like your money controls you instead of the other way around, hit that subscribe. Feeling like your money controls you instead of the other way around? Hit that subscribe button. We do not do fluff here. We build actual systems to build actual wealth. Join the community. Okay, let's talk about the fun stuff. Because if your payday routine is just saving, paying bills, and screaming at your credit cards, you are going to burn out and binge spend within 3 months. It is like an extreme crash diet. You eat nothing but lettuce for a week, and by Saturday, you are destroying a dozen donuts in your car. You need a release valve. Whatever money is left over after steps 1 through 4, that is your burn pile. This is the money in your primary checking account. And here is the beautiful psychological trick of this entire system. You can spend this money on whatever you want, absolutely guilt-free. You want the stupidly expensive coffee? Buy it. You want to go out for sushi? Do it. You don't have to feel bad about it because you already know your investments are funded. You already know your rent is covered. You already know your debt is getting aggressively murdered. The money that is left over is yours to burn. It changes your entire relationship with spending. You stop feeling guilty every time you swipe your card because you are operating within a mathematically safe boundary. You aren't restricting yourself, you are just ordering your priorities. So look at what happens when you run this routine. Your paycheck hits, you wait 24 hours to let your brain calm down, then the machines take over. 20% vanishes to buy your freedom in the future. Your survival money moves to a lockdown bills account. Your debt takes a massive automated hit to the jaw. And what is left in your hand is purely for you to enjoy. All of this happens in maybe 5 minutes without you having to make a single hard choice in the moment. You stop living in survival mode. You stop checking your account in a panic on a Thursday. You move from playing defense with your money to playing aggressive offense. You aren't hoping to build wealth anymore. You are... I want to leave you with this thought. It's from James Clear, and it completely rewrote how I view money and discipline. He said, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." Stop relying on your motivation to save money. Build the system, run the routine, and let the math do the heavy lifting. I am Heisenbank. See you on the next one.